I'll just take a few minutes to do another short little update on the indoor vegetables and how they're performing. The tomatoes continue to amaze me. There are two good-sized clusters of fairly decent-sized tomatoes. I think perhaps they are the black cherry, just because there's so many in the cluster. That seemed to be the way they grew in the garden this summer. I've been able to remove the weights from the stem because the weight of the fruit now holds the vine down away from the lights. Out on the end here there's a third cluster just getting started. I still haven't used any of the lettuce. It looks fairly decent. It doesn't seem to be growing a great deal more. I suspect in that little pot it's getting root bound. But the basil next to it, I never did thin it out, but I've been clipping off pieces and using it. It's nice to have fresh basil in the house this time of year. I've moved the weight system down to the greenhouse cucumber because it was growing right up into the lights. The lights aren't hot enough that they would actually burn it, but they get light burned. They get too close to the bright lights. They tend to sort of scorch a yellow color in the area where they're really close to the light. But this thing is growing leaps and bounds every day. It's now got its first vine sort of coming out, as you can see there. And down in the center there are places where there are blossom buds, but nothing has opened up yet. Excited to see how this performs because it doesn't need to be pollinated. It's an F1 hybrid. Every blossom is female and every blossom produces a cucumber without pollination because it doesn't actually have seeds in the cucumber. Those little fleshy things that would have turned into a seed if it had been cross-pollinated, but there aren't any seeds involved here. And if you can see way out in the back there, that's my tiger melon. The poor thing is still struggling to get out from under the giant cucumber, but it is growing. It's developing more leaves all the time, so you never know, Mr. Steen. I may get a tiger melon in the house here. Now I'm going to go outdoors and show you the reveal on my indoor radish growing project. Well, I've come outdoors to harvest my little pot of French breakfast radish here. I planted, I think it was 6 seeds. They all germinated eventually, but the 6th one is just this tiny little thing down here, so that's not going to amount to anything, I guess. But I think I have 5 radishes, maybe a bit strange looking. Not too bad. I think that's not too bad at all. Well, I'll have to take those in and clean them up, but I guess I said that isn't too bad. I think, if I'm being more honest, that's probably better than any of the ones that I actually grew outside in the garden this summer. They're a fair-sized radish, and I didn't tend to get them that size when I was picking the ones out in the garden.